Welcome back to another episode of Boundaries and Brotherhood. And we found out that a big topic was yesterday being a dad, being a professional, and being the 11th man. It all entails to a lot of different things, but I just wanted to say I'm your host, Gordon Wat. Welcome to another episode of Boundaries and Brotherhood with my co-host,
Dr. Keith Fairclough.
Guys, if you didn't watch last week's episode, it was about us being both fathers and both being professional. But today's topic is going to bounce off of that one because you're going to love the topic. Doc, explain what we're going to be going over, what the situation is, what the problem is. And this way we'll get it all set up technically while I do my thing. Viewers.
So guys, today you definitely want to stick around, especially if you're someone who is ambitious, but yet you still want to make sure you're there present for your family, present for your relationship, and you feel torn between the two, like you have to choose. And a lot of times we've been sold the lie that you have to choose. It's either your business or your family, your success or your relationships. You know, you'll have some people even try to parrot that and say, that's the only way to do it. There is no work-life balance. But we're here to tell you that that is a lie. That is not true. There are many, many successful men who have a work-life balance, a strong relationship with their wife, a strong relationship with their kids, and they're killing it at work or killing it in their business, especially in today's day and age. So today we're going to be talking about how to shift your mindset from the either or to both and, right? So you're going to be integrating your roles, not separating them, right? We're going to be talking about the critical importance of making sure we define what success means to us. Okay. Success means something different to everybody. So you have to define what it means for you. So we're going to talk about that as well. And we're going to talk about how to identify and leverage your personal power for maximum impact and efficiency, both your areas at work or your business and at home. So that's just for you today, guys.
That's going to be just an amazing, amazing subject because a lot of the times us as professionals, like we've been taught grind, hustle, do this, make the money, do all this stuff. But what about the people that's supporting you, that come back home, that hug you and miss you and figure out how you're going to do? This is what we're going to be going over. Yeah, because the scooter. And this is what we're talking about, guys.
Very good. That was not.
Hey, this is at one point in time, I would yell and then do everything else. But I sound, you just talk calmly, have the energy ready. Don't let them do his thing. But please unpack the intense pressure modern men face today in today's society.
I would say the pressures that we face in today's society there's a lot. One, we're coming out of the mindset of we can't have emotions, right? So we're just starting to understand what emotions are and that's okay to feel them and learn how to navigate them. As we're doing that, most of us probably have some form of family, right? We either have kids and we're married or we have kids or we're not married. Then there's the dynamic there. Trying to work on those relationships, depending on what the dynamic is. If you're with the mother of your children or you're not with the mother of your children, there's a whole lot of different dynamics there. The modern man, because he's finally waking up, he's recognizing the error of his ways and how much damage he's caused along the way. So there's that aspect of having to, kind of fix those relationships. And at the same time, there's still that pressure, although the income, as far as income inequality between men and women, it has all but vanished. Especially because women are in higher positions, whatever, but we're still trying to become the provider, right? We're still trying to make enough money or whatnot. And before, actually, I want to say 5-10 years ago, making six figures is a big deal. Nowadays, making six figures is like the bare minimum just to survive, right? So, and granted, obviously depends on where you live, but you have that mindset as well because things are still getting more expensive. So you have all these pressures. And on top of that, you still are trying to fulfill your life's goal. You're trying to not just make more money, but be fulfilled in all this. And so you have all these pressures on top of you. It's like, how do I navigate it all at the same time? And a lot of times us as men, it's just easier to go back to what we were doing before, just shutting down, putting our head down and just going forward and working. But, once the box is open, we can't close it anymore, guys. Like the door's been kicked open. The red pill movement kicked the door open. So here we are. And we got to learn how to do it the right way. And so I would say that's what we're experiencing, the modern man's experiencing, those pressures that they're experiencing, to the point where there's a lot of women who are truly more like the ones that are level-headed. They'll say, there's no way I would ever want to be a man. Like, y'all got that. And mind you, these are women who've had kids and been stretched all the way out and go through all the stuff women go through. And they still look at men. And when they finally understand what the pressures that a man's under, we didn't even talk about leadership, protection. We didn't even talk about that. They're like, yeah, no, you got that. You guys got that. We don't want that. So I would say if that's any indication of the pressures that we're under, there you go.
I mean, it's really different for me because then even like from a situation that we just occurred just the other week, right? I look at it this way. If you were given a second chance, basically look at life as you being on borrowed time. If you was on borrowed time with your family, your kids, you have a new level of respect of what you got to do, provide, protect, and everything else. But you can provide, protect in different ways as a man. Also, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be monetary, right? Because
Yeah.
say my wife is just losing her mind, right? I can provide stability, right? But at the same time, she might be the breadwinner right now, but she knows she's like, I know it's just temporary because of the phase in life where you're now. If you understand these things that you can do better with your family and you're on borrowed time and you're grateful for everything, what's important, right? Because you got to understand career ambition and present parenting can be done. I'm doing it right now. But at one point in my life, depending on which phase in your life, how much you want to do the grind, which one will you pick and which is more important to you? What are you finding in your realm?
Yeah. So in my realm, I think there's a lot of guys that I'll tell you the honest truth, that don't even think about it. We focus on we focus on the provision, the physical stuff, solving problems. Like we're still with this door kicked open and all these other things you have to anticipate and think about. Like you just said, there's more ways to protect than just beating up the guys trying to hurt your family. There's so many more ways to protect. But again, we just got here. I mean, that's what needs to be, well, needs to be understood. That's what makes it so difficult. We just got,
Mm.
right? Women have been talking about emotions for decades, right? Years and years. We literally just got here. On top of that, we're still expected to do all the stuff we were doing before. And on top of that, we're still
Plus,
with a lot of the social and the mindsets that are in some women as well, right? Where it's just like, well, you're not a real man because you're not doing this, or you're not doing that, or you're not making all the money or whatever, right? And so that's one of the things that makes it difficult. That's one of the things that you see is it's like, we're just getting to the point where we're open up and share. You hear that all the time. These guys that come and say, I've never done therapy before. This is my first time. So what does that tell you, right? Like, we're not talking about like, oh, it's just older guys, right? I got guys in my practice as young as like what, 18, 19.
yeah,
All
they
the
need it.
guys that are in their 50s, 60s. And all of them are saying the same thing. This is the first time I'm opening up. That's what you're seeing, right? You're seeing like you're just coming to the table. It's like, okay, let me shove this stuff down your mouth. Like, give us a moment so we can acclimate to the expansion of our roles, the expansion of provision, the expansion of leadership, the expansion of protection, what it means to us, what success, redefining what success looks like. Because we've been taught as men, success looks like to make a lot of money, your wife doesn't have to work, everything's taken care of, and everyone else's needs are met, not ours. Everyone else's needs. That's the definition, the general definition of success that's been given to all of us. And we got to come out of that. We got to come out of that because a lot of men are very unfulfilled because we're not making that same level of success. The market's changing, the economy's changing, jobs are changing. And there's a lot of guys that are working like blue collar jobs and things of that nature. And granted, there's a lot of blue collar jobs that still are not in danger. But, when you have something like a 3D printer for houses where they can put up a whole neighborhood in a couple of months versus these take them years, you
Oh, yeah.
know? And then construction, that's going to get disrupted a little bit because why would I pay all these people, have all this liability, when I can train one guy or a couple of guys to run a few of these machines, and maybe the machines cost $10 million a piece. I don't got to worry about, all I got to worry about is regular maintenance. Long story short, I don't want to go down to that rabbit hole, but what I'm saying is there's a lot of jobs, physical jobs that we as men would do that are disappearing. So there's all this stuff going on that we're trying to cope with and deal with at the same time. So that can be a lot. So I would say that's what I would see coming in is just that, we're entering into this new realm and we're just starting to open up and entertain the idea of what's it like to deal with emotions the right way.
Understand, you got to understand a couple of things as being a man in this modern pill, blue pill, red pill era, right? Because if you're seeking self validation, if you're a modern man like Doc said, and you're figuring out that your outside validation or your thing is from this thing here, because you're comparing yourself to others, how is that going to be? How are you going to be a present dad if you're watching this and you're teaching? What are you teaching your kids? Because like me and Doc said, both of our families, the kids, they don't really seek too much outside validation because they have everything in-house. How does the debunking myth of the super dad prevail nowadays?
Well, I
Give
mean,
me a definition of it.
the super dad is, I mean, it's just quite simple. It's the guy who is able to show up and get everything done and do everything for everybody else, right? The idea that he never fails, he doesn't break, he doesn't have any weaknesses, he's invincible, and he never shows any sign of weakness in front of his family. That's the super dad myth, and that's something that we all
Mhm.
strive for. And it hurts when you fall short, even if it's something that it's okay, you're human, but we're like, yeah, no, but we're not though.
Right, I was
Honestly,
just about to say,
yeah, yeah. And I'll be honest, like this morning, like I was behind this morning. I'll be honest, a big reason that's why I was behind this morning, Gordon, was because for something that happened to my shoulder yesterday, right? And it started to hurt, and it hurt bad. But what hurt even worse, in time and time again, what happens is when it hurts in front of my kids,
oh,
right? So while yeah, I'm a therapist and I'm into all this and all stuff like that, I'm not immune to how we've all been programmed. I don't like looking weak in front of my kids. I don't like looking like I can break in front of my children. I don't. Is that fair? No. Is it reasonable? No. But that's what we as men experience. We do never want to experience or show weakness in front of our children, in front of our women. That's why we won't open up to our women about certain things. Unfortunately, there's some women that perpetuate that as well. They're like, don't show me any weakness because that's not manly to me and that turns me off. And so I would say, while yeah, it's a myth, like we're human, we're weak, we have emotions. It's okay to break. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be injured and things like that.
but it's not. So
Yeah.
let me ask you, just saying all of that, the myth of being that superhero dad, the superhero man, that everything is, what happens when it breaks? When that man literally is broken, right? We talk about broken men before on this channel. We talk about a lot of things. Literally, how would you, it's like, because I don't want you telling our viewers what is going on. I want you to show them how you're fixing it.
Okay.
Show, don't tell, right? Now,
So I would say, as far as like how to fix it, for one, you have to disconnect your manhood from these preconceived notions that have been set before us. It does not mean we become like whiny crybabies who can't do anything and just fall apart at the drop of a dime. We're not even biologically designed to do that. All right, let me just put that out there as well. Because and the reason why I say that is because there's a lot of men that would, from what I'm about to say, would say, no, that's not the way it's supposed to be. You got to be a man, toughen up and yada, 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 whatever, right? Here's the thing. We're already naturally tough as men. I don't think people understand that. It's just built into us already, genetically, biologically, hormones, all that stuff. That's why we have more testosterone running through our system. Of course, there's things we can do to boost that, but naturally, we're already designed to handle a big load and big pressure. Like our bodies are even just physically designed to handle more than our female counterparts. So let me just put that out there as well. So my thing is like, if you don't have to prove that we're men, that's what I mean by disconnect. You don't have to prove you're a man. Never crying and never hurting in front of others and never having emotions. That doesn't prove you're a man. So that's seeking that outside validation. You're wasting your time because it's not enough to validate you. Because if it was enough, then you'd be satisfied and you'd stop putting forth effort. But we don't. We keep doing more and more and more. So we got to disconnect the whole idea of masculinity being tied to being invincible and never breaking, because that's just not the truth. So that's the first and foremost. And then second, it's how you handle these situations, right? So for instance, me with my kids the other day, like people get injured. That's a fact. Even me, even dad, he gets injured. Now I might keep going forward, but I'm not gonna fake like everything is good. And that's the problem. We're faking like everything is good and setting this impossible standard for our kids to live up to. No, everything is not good. Sometimes I am down, sometimes I need help, and that's okay. And so by being able to just live out that truth and not miss out on my masculinity as a result and not tie my masculinity to it and get all of my feelings about, oh, well, I'm not supposed to be. No, no, it's okay to hurt. It's okay to be down, so now it's not okay to stay down, but it's okay to be down for a moment. That's life. It just happens. When I hurt my back and I was down, I needed help. That's life. We're going to need help. So by being able to grasp these just like basic fundamental truths that we're not invincible, we're not supermen, it's okay to fall short sometimes. Because the fact of the matter is, the simple drive of us being men, the positions that we hold as leaders, providers, protectors, we're going to go above and beyond more often than not. We're going to have way more success more often than not. We're going to take care of our family more often than not. So the few times where they need to step up for us, it's okay. It doesn't take away from who we are. That's just life. And that's what they're there for. And our women want to show up for us that way. And our kids love it. Our women want to our women want to show up for us that way. The hell. They love it. They don't look at you like, oh my gosh, you're so weak. They say, I get to help dad. I get to be there for dad. So you don't sometimes be falling short and being weak or being hurt and showing that, right? There's no loss in that. As a matter of fact, it's gain because your kids know it's okay for me. Hey, I can be down sometimes. It's all right. It's a life. So I would say that's where you want to start as far as disconnect your masculinity and your identity as a man from being invincible and being this super dad. And I would say that's how you start debunking that.
I have both experiences as being a thriving entrepreneur, hustle, doing everything. Left 2 kids. In fact, I did it twice in my life, right? I left 2 daughters, 2 different mommies, 2 different things. And I had to learn from my ways from doing that, because if I didn't do it on this second go around after my shady past, right, I had to do something different. And to see the myths where you want to be a present, engaging father, but you being a present and engaging father also helps in your business because it's empathetic, it's you conquer self-doubt, and people are relatable, especially when you're trying to close deals, especially when you try to get clients, because they want to have rock solid stability. Because even if you look at some of the most wealthiest men, they'll dress with like a regular person because they're okay with themselves and their family and their situation and what they got going on. Now, when being present for your business and you're trying to find that balance, that's when it has to come down to you and what you really strive for. Because I just had a meeting this past weekend where it's like, Gordon, give me your schedule. We'll work around you because we know you got your family. You know what I mean? And they're software developers.
Yes.
So, but at the same time, what's important to you?
Yeah.
Because what's important to you, whether it's money, when you're sitting on your hospital bed, take it from me for experience, right? When you're sitting on your hospital bed, yeah, you watching your phone, you start looking at your pictures. You're not looking at your bank account. When you're on your bed and you look back at your life, now, if you're in your 20s and you got your whole life for you, I can say for once, yeah, I wouldn't change all my incarceration time, all my prison time, all the bullshit I did, all the convictions, all the arrests, 100-something arrests, right? I wouldn't give that away to not be the person I am today because I understand it all. And I understand everything that I do is on borrowed time. If you look at it as from borrowed time, from what the grace that God gives you, and He gives you a second chance, when you're on your bed, you're going to be looking at your memories. And you feel sorry for like somebody like Steve Jobs. When you change the whole freaking world, but you can't do nothing except that, and you can't even buy your way out. Something like that. Like we talked about, this is what's going to be your purpose? What is your belief? How do you reframe everything? How do you rephrase something to see it through different lenses so that you change? You can change the alpha male mentality. That's nothing wrong with that. I've done that. I went down that road, but it's unfulfilling. Okay? Now, when he asks you this, if you're an engaged father, but you always wanted to be a professional, what's stopping you from doing both?
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this in fairness, right? I'm not saying it's the same level of ease across the board, right?
No.
And let's just take a step back, because obviously a lot of the men that are looking at our stuff or watching this now, I probably already have kids. I probably just finding out what they wanted in their life, right?
Yep.
But I'll be real honest. Like, that's why it's so important for the young generation, before you have kids, before you get into a relationship, to know what you're supposed to do and what you're going to do already. Because the thing is, if you could plan ahead. Unfortunately, what happens is a lot of times we just have kids and just have them willy-nilly. We have them before we start our business. We have them before we know what we want to do. We put the cart before the horse. You know, the first thing Adam got before he got a wife, before he got kids, before he got anything, God gave him a job. He gave him a purpose. He gave him a position. He said, you're the caretaker of the world, right? That's what he got first. And so what happens is, once you have that first, then that's going to show you what kind of wife to get. And then once you get the wife and then you're building out, Then you guys can have conversation, see where kids fit in. But too often we do it backwards. A lot of times we'll have kids before we get the wife, and then when we have the wife, if we even get married, then we finally try to get the career. And now we're trying to fit everybody in all together. And it's possible you chose a career that's not conducive to being a family. Like if you're a long haul truck driver, or if you're working on an oil rig, or if you're in the military. A lot of these careers are not conducive to family life. So it's important to understand that. So that's why I want to put that caveat in there. Like for some people, it can be easier, right? I'm a therapist. I have my own practice. I can set my own hours. I make enough so I don't have to work 100 hours a day every day. I have it set up like that. I used to work for the school district. That's conducive to having a family. So I don't want to put it out there like it's just completely easy. However, if you start off the right way and do it the right way, actually it is a whole lot easier, because then, like for instance, I have some couples that I've worked with where they say we want to hold off on kids. So we have certain things set up in place. So our schedules are in place or whatever the case may be, right? And some are ready to go right now, right? But for those of us who already have kids, it's kind of tough what Jordan was saying a second ago, right? You have to prioritize what's most important. Right? What is the most valuable, important thing? And let me also say this, your family and your children are always going to be way more important than your career and your ambition. I'm not saying you have to give it up. And that's the key part. It doesn't have to be either or. It's just, it might look different than how you build out your career. But your focus should always be on your children and your wife. It should always be there first and foremost. Those are the people who you've chosen, right? You made a vow to protect, to provide for, and to lead. In more ways than just making money and having a job. So that's the first thing. Prioritize your family. And the second thing is, once you find out what your purpose is, especially today we live in the age of technology, find out how you can achieve your purpose while still cultivating your family. And if possible, how much can you include your family into the family business? Is there a way for your wife to be part of it? Is there a way for your kids to be part of it? Because that way you don't have to worry about balance. It's integration. We're with together each other all the time.
That's a big one.
Right? It's a lot easier if you do it the right way, right? Career, job, set that out, then find the wife. She's a good fit, then fit the kids in to what your schedule is going to look like. It's a lot easier that way. But for those of us who maybe we did it backwards or whatever, or we're a little late to the game, that's cool. Focus on your family first and foremost. How can I be there for them? How can I love them? How can I show up for them? How can I make more quality time, more quality moments? How can I make sure they're set and good? Because that's your foundation. That's your home base. Because from there, then you can start thinking about, okay, how can I build up this business? And we live in a day and age now where, Gordon, I think we said, I think it was a personal conversation. You had in the beginning of putting this Boundaries and Brotherhood together. But you said we're living in a day and age where it's very possible for us to see the first solopreneur billionaire. Meaning that they have systems in place, so many systems in place, they don't need to bring anybody else on board, right? With that being said, and the way that the economy is shifting, it's quite possible for you to achieve your dreams, add in tremendous value to the world, make good money, provide for your family, and still have the life with your family and be present with your children, be present at dinner at nighttime, be with your wife, right? It's going to be a lot easier to do that, right? But you just got to set your mind and intent to do that.
Oh, absolutely. You're absolutely correct. As fast as technology is moving right now, I can build an employee, build an agent, automate everything, make the ad campaign, have my digital twin. If you guys see me with some of my stuff out there, the voice not be the same, but half of my content out there is not the same, so I can spend time with my family. Because it's that easy. Now, we kind of digress on that part, but it's so prevalent right now because that's why people are just getting laid off, because it's going to be a whole revamp. I've been around technology before my heydays, even after my heydays. You're not going to have there's not going to be a better time to be able to provide for your family, have the time, but still be the same person you are.
Well, what do you mean by that? Because a father is automatically a provider. Well, we as men are automatically providers, right? Okay. So there's no separating of that role.
Some people like to separate them.
Oh, you're talking about a father versus like a career man?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's hard to have both, but it's doable, right? Like I said, we're living it. But it all depends, to me, is like, how do you maximize your level of attention and time? What are you telling your clients?
You got to prioritize it. You got to set up boundaries. You
Oh,
must.
boundaries again. Yep.
You know, too often we're so focused on trying to be super dad, trying to be Superman, trying to be everything to everybody, right? Why? Well, a lot of times we're seeking validation and worth, right? The more value I can provide, the more value I have in the world, the more of a man I am, right? As if there is some level, some barometer of manhood, right? Beyond just obviously being a leader, provider, protector, and operating in those roles. I mean, obviously, of course, we have men are not living up to what it is to be a man. I'll say that right now. There are men that are not living up to the standard. And the reason why is because, yeah, we want to go hard on them. Oh, you're a deadbeat. You're this, you're that, yada, yada, yada. Okay, but all you're doing is adding to the same issue, right? You're not doing anything different. You're not getting down to the root of the matter. So I do want to kind of back up, accept off the people who are intentionally putting out bad information just for clicks and views and to getting your wallet. Those people I'm going to go in on hard. But for other men, especially if you didn't have a father, but I don't want to go too off topic. Long story short, yeah, people are trying to separate I can either be a father or I can either be a career man. For one, I'll say this. It depends on what you really want to do.
That's
right?
what we really want to.
If you really, 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 you know what? I really, really want to be a father. Like, that's my main thing. Okay, cool. Right? Now, granted, you may not make millions and millions and millions of dollars because your focus is going to be on your kids. But I promise you, your kids are going to be in phenomenal hands. They're going to turn out great. And I'm not saying you have to be broke or anything like that. But I'm saying, are you going to reach like super, super high heights in your career? No, because you want to be at every recital. You want to be at every game. You want to be throwing the ball in the backyard. You want to be reading bedtime stories. You want to be playing with them. You want to be doing those things. And that's incredible. So if you want to be a father, it's not a problem. Especially if it's like your wife is like, yeah, no, because I want to go build the next Mary Kay, whatever, or do whatever. Fine, if that's what she's doing, whatever your dynamic is in your family, have that conversation. But if you want to be a career man and you're saying, I really love my career, I'm going up, then go and do that. The matter is, it still goes back to, obviously, you can't neglect, like if you want to be a career man, you still can't neglect your family. You might want to work all the way into the night. One of my brothers absolutely loves what he does, has always loved. It's refreshing to see someone who loves what they do. I remember talking with his wife, my sister-in-law, and she was saying that if he could, he would probably work until 9 o'clock at night doing his job. He loved it that much. And he would start at 6 in the morning. He would literally work that much. But my brother is phenomenal at? He is incredible. One of the best people I know in my life ever, across the board, when it comes to boundaries, especially when it comes to his family.
See, that's why he's so.
Especially when everyone else could fall off the planet. He will be there. He'll be there at the graduation. He'll be there at the recital. He'll be there at the karate tournament. He'll be there or whatever it is. Like, I have the utmost highest respect for him. Why? Because and on top of that, I also say this, and he's also still successful in his career. But his focus is making sure his family is good. But he's very successful in his career and whatnot. And he's done a phenomenal job of integrating as well. So long story short.
Integration.
Integration, like, ultimately goes back to either way, you got to have boundaries, right? Because even the man that wants to be a father, right? If you're working, and you should be working, in my opinion. But again, it all depends on the dynamic of your family. So don't go based situation. If you guys have a good situation where you can stay home and do all the stuff for the kids and be there and be present, and your wife is like out here killing it, then by all means, right? That's what you and your wife, how you guys want that to work, right? It's like, Gordon, you're a perfect example of that. You make it work. So I don't have an opinion like, oh my gosh, stay at home dad, he's a horrible person. No, if his wife's making $500,000 a year, they're good. And they set themselves up properly. Why be pressed? I'm not in your house. I'm not in your bed. And you don't need my validation. You're already a man. Me being a validation. So long story short, what I'm saying is, but ultimately, you got to set up the boundaries. Like, for instance, Gordon, again, for you use as an example, you set up boundaries. There's times when you work, and there's times when work is done. It's just you and the boys. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
So you gotta set the boundaries up. So whether you want to do, hey, I want to do fatherhood or a career, you gotta set up the boundaries. And if you say, you know what, I'm not choosing, I want to do both, you still gotta set the boundaries up because you gotta make time for each. And the thing is, there is time for each.
I'm gonna tell you this: when you're grinding, you're doing your purpose, you're moving forward with your life, you're conquering all your goals, right? You can be after the money. You could be my office, Doc. Back in my heydays, looking over my clubs, my business, everything else, my office, my corner office used to overlook Waikiki on the top floor of the penthouse. But deep down, what did I always want to be? A father. Yeah, I messed up my first relationship. In fact, my first relationship, she threw down a pound of dope down the toilet and tried to take my guns, and she soaked them in Clorox, thinking it would help me. Think,
Oh,
right? My second daughter's mom in Hawaii, they didn't want to have nothing to do with me from that story. But at the same time, this is why I appreciate everything I have between career, fatherhood, purpose, genuine, and my job that I recently quit maybe last year. I loved my job because I was interacting with people. And who comes out of prison with an ankle bracelet and drops into a bellman doorman job in the hottest hotel in the strip? That's just grace of God,
absolutely.
right? There's no way possible. But now that when you look at how fatherhood has changed me, and this is why I can talk about business, empathy. But I also have friends that, like you said, that just as ambitious as it because they want to be that alpha male. That's for them.
Yeah.
We still can be friends, but I have the emotional capacity to not have my opinion in it. And he used to live with me. He knows how I am. I know how he is. Whatever persona they have, that's just on his thing because he's how he takes care of his family.
Yeah.
And I have many more like that. But at the same time, when you look at the things that are important to you and you find that balance between both and you latch onto that integration with purpose, like my son, right? He don't have school today. I told him, we're going to set up your office like this because I'm building up his studio right now because he want to be a YouTube guy, right? So I got this little mic thing. I got the lights. I got everything. I said, you want to practice with me? He goes, no, I'm not. I'm too young. I said, you're never too young, but at least those are the purposes. Those are the joyous moments that I want to see because when you're at your hospital bed, you will be looking at photos. I would never think I'd be saying this in my life. I thought I'd be scrolling Instagram. I thought I'd be scrolling TikTok, all this other stuff, or trying to make something. No, I was scrolling photos to see if I really redeemed my life. Because you have to look at it now. When you look at certain things, if you're on borrowed time and only by the grace of God, what's going to be important to you at that time?
Yeah.
And you're going to look back because you're going to be put in this precarious position. Is your career because what's going to happen when you have the realization that say you did pass away, say you did something happen, who's going to care for you? Nobody. That's the reality of it. It only matters what's going to be happy for you, whether it's going to be career stuff. Because if you say you're a career man and something happens to you, who's going to take the brunt of the pain?
Yeah.
That's some deep stuff, right?
Right. Who's going to be there for you when it's all said and done? Right.
Because life will move on.
If you're an 11th man, you're going to have close people in your life. Like that's just what it's going to be.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
The 11th man is one that does have boundaries, and the 11th man is one that does cultivate relationships, and is someone you can rely on, who is emotionally available. If you're the 11th man, you'll never have to worry about that. You'll on your deathbed, you'll be completely and totally fulfilled in your family, in your marriage, in business, in the community. You will be fulfilled in every area of your life. And that wasn't even supposed to be like a plug, but it just seemed to fit really well, Gordon. But it's the men who do not have their priorities straight, the ones who are not trying to seek out their purpose, the ones that are not looking at the blessings that they have in their life, the ones that are not setting boundaries, the ones that are trying to live up to the old, the old super dad mythos, alpha male mythos or whatnot. Those are the ones that will lay on their deathbed, and those are the ones that will have a life full of regret. I regret not spending more time with I regret not spending more time with my wife. I regret not spending time with my grandchildren. I regret not being there for my family. I regret not taking that risk. I regret not taking that course to make me a better man. I regret not being able to do this, or I regret not being able to do that. You just look back on your life like that, and it's unfortunate because you had the opportunity to change. And that's the crazy part. You're going to look back at your life, and you're going to look back at all the different junctures. You're going to look back to when your wife was begging you to go to therapy or begging you to get help and you didn't. You're going to look back when your kid was always asking you to play. You kept saying, not now, not now, not now. And then eventually they stopped. And then you went back and it was too late. You're going to look back on, oh man, I should have invested in AI. Or you're going to look back like, oh man, I had this successful business that I just didn't feel like doing anymore. And I give you look back on all those things because your mindset's not right. You're not making any good decisions. And because you're not making any good decisions, you're going to have a life full of regret. All these things left on the table, all this untapped potential. It's going to be all left. It's all going to be there. And so, yeah, you got to become the 11th man. Honestly, you got to, and even for those, like, for instance, Gordon, like, again, you use an example, right? You talk about being redeemed, like, because of what you're learning and how you're growing in with yourself, that even gives you the opportunity to go back and reach back to your daughters, right?
Yeah.
And start working on trying to make things right with them and be like, hey, listen, I wasn't right. I did do wrong by you, whatnot, but here I am today. So it's not too late, because I know there's other men out there with the same thing. It's like, dang, I used to be a deadbeat, but I turned it around, but I did a lot of damage. And my kids have suffered as a result. But now, because they're working with us, guess what they get a chance to do? They get a chance to, well, I now know how to bear the brunt of that. I know now how to empathize with them. I know how to share my own thoughts, my own emotions, and my own feelings without trying to criticize or tear someone apart. I know how to break free from the innosphere of I only got to be one way. And so now I can start actually living a life without regret. I can start undoing a lot of the damage that I've done by being the better man, by being the 11th man.
Being the 11th man. Yeah, folks. Man, this was a doozy. I mean, anytime we talk about our kids, our family, our careers, this is the hot topic. But what if we could exponentially grow your career and be an incredible father all at the same time without sacrificing either? This is what our program, our workshops, our things coming in the next few months is going to be all about. We're going to have pop-up workshops. You can take an assessment right now at letsgo.boundariesandbrotherhood.com. You can find all our stuff in school. We'll be having us up because we want to hit you. We want to create milestones for you in your business, your career, and your family, so that all, like Doc says, the perfect word, integrated. If we're integrated in everything, the full potential as a dadpreneur that comes home and spends time with their kids, so that one day it's on their time, not your time, to play with. And you can do that starting today, because your future grandkids that you might not even see, like me, will thank you for it.
I want to add to that a little bit with a little bit of context and a story real quick. Because I think it was last week, my son had asked me if we're going to, I think, watch a show or something like that. And I said, no, not tonight, because I got some work to do. And then it hit me. I'm like, he asked me if he wanted to watch a show with me.
Right.
And I said, I'm not missing out on that opportunity. I said, you know what? Yeah, cue up the TV, pull the video up, let's sit down and watch it. And I said, because the work is always, that's the thing, guys, the work is always going to be there. And if you're good at what you do,
your work,
guess what? People are going to still come to you, right?
Regardless.
So if you have your boundary up and say, hey, listen, I'm done at 5 times spending time with my family. You think if you're great at what you do, that you have to worry about, oh, well, I'm going to lose business and lose customers, things like that. No. People are going to respect them and be like, okay, well, cool. Then I'm going to work it into my schedule. Gordon, you think people are like, if Tony Robbins or Dr. Eric Thomas, if you think any of them say, I'm spending time with my family this week so y'all can't reach me, you think people are going to be like, oh, we're not working with you? They're going to be like, I can't talk to you for another month out from there. Okay, great. I put it on my schedule. And they will be there a month out from there. But this goes back to, because people have that fear, but the 11th man is not concerned about that because he's adding such tremendous value wherever he goes. He's showing us the best version of himself. And he cares about people genuinely, and he's open and honest and transparent and real. And so that if you are saying, hey, my day ends at this time, I don't take emails, I don't take phone calls, I don't do nothing, because it's for me and my family. People are going to respect that. If you really want to make it, you want to grind, that's okay. They can go find somebody else. You're not going to miss out on anything with that, because guess what? It's just like you said earlier, Gordon, when you're laying on your deathbed or you're sitting back and you're looking at your life, and you're looking at the pictures, watching the videos, and you can actually remember, like, yeah, I was there, I remember that. Oh man, I remember when they were at that
feeling inside. Yes.
You can't replace that. No amount of money can replace that. None. No amount of money. And the crazy thing about it is we value money over that time with the family. Always make money. A great idea, good marketing, good sales, and you can become a millionaire overnight. Oh, especially nowadays. But guess what? You can't get back that time when your kid walks for the first time. You can't get back that time they say daddy or mommy for the first time. You can't get back the first day of school. You can't get back to graduation. You can't get that stuff back. And there's some moments in my life where I did miss that or was missed. When my dad passed away before I got to graduate college, I can't get that back. Or when I had a bad smile, a bad attitude when I graduated high school and he was there, I can't get that back. I can't get back when my kid graduated from pre-K. then I wasn't there for his grad. I can't get that stuff back. So you need to really make sure we're prioritizing properly, right? We got to make sure we're prioritizing properly. And boundaries allows you to do it all. No boundaries, then you can't do it all. But if you have boundaries, there's always time to make sure you do it all.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, we can't end on a better note with that. Guys, come see us next week. Please reach out. Leave us a comment on the YouTube channel. Please hit that subscribe button. And we'll see you next week. I'm Gordon Wat from Boundaries and Brotherhood. Aloha.
All right, you guys take care. Again, if y'all need anything, please, y'all reach out and let us know. We can get you the help you need.
All right.
It's Dr. Keith. We'll see y'all next week.
All right, guys.
As always, thanks for watching, and be sure to hit that follow or like button for even more. Leave us a comment. We would love to hear from you.